Hey guys, CommonSensei here, and welcome back to another episode of the I'm Just Sayin video podcast, where I serve as your tour guide through this minefield of liberal idiocy, ridiculousness, and stupidity. It's been a little over 2 weeks since my last post. Been very busy with a new position on the job, but I figured it's time I address a couple of things. Not that this should come as a surprise, but as we already know, the border is a disaster. We have Haitians running through the border. That's right, Haitians from Haiti running through the border, our southern border with Mexico. Now, I'm no geography major by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems as though if you look at a map or a globe of the world, Haiti is nowhere near Mexico. That's really weird. Also, Biden's refusing to answer questions during a press conference in which the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, of Great Britain is there. Not only that, but General Milley's, the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, that's right, you remember that guy. He's completely rogue, he's gone off the reservation, and he needs to be reined back in. We've got a lot to talk about, all right? Grab your Black Rifle coffee, and let's rock. Now, as you already know, the border is a clusterfuck of epic proportion. And here's the thing. There are 30,000 Haitians that came up recently from Latin America into Mexico, and then they reached our border. Literally, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people are being let into the country illegally. And they're being resettled in neighborhoods all over the United States. Now, the left will have you believe that these people, quite honestly, are politically persecuted. They're just trying to make a better life for themselves. Here's the thing. A lot of these people, particularly the ones from Haiti, when they reached Mexico, they stormed government offices. They robbed people. They stole things. They committed rapes. Not all of them. Certainly not all of these people. But here's the thing. We don't know who's coming in this country, and the head of the DHS, which is the Department of Homeland Security, briefed Congress. And guess what he told Congress? We don't have any idea how many people have come into this country illegally. And guess what? We don't. But they're resettling them. Here's the thing. This last weekend on Friday and then again on Sunday, 2 different border checkpoints were completely left unmanned. There's video of semi-trucks coming into the United States. Who knows where they're going? Who knows what they're carrying? But they're coming from Mexico. They're coming in from Mexico. This is a country which disease runs rapid. This is a country which drugs are constantly flowing over our border when the border's manned. And now that it's not manned, who knows what's coming in? And at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, quite honestly, is this by coincidence? Is this an accident? Do we just not have enough people to man the border? Do we not have enough money? Why is this happening? I want you to think about that for a second. And let me give you a little bit of information. First of all, there's already a program in the works to give these people amnesty and then voting rights. Okay? Whether they're citizens or not, immaterial to the left. They're already working on giving them voting rights. They're already working on giving convicted felons voting rights. Here's the thing. When you don't know how many people are coming in this country, and now you're going to give them amnesty, where do you think these people are being resettled? Do you think there's some gerrymandering going on? And if you don't know what gerrymandering is, I highly suggest that you look it up. Gerrymandering is moving the population around and moving districts around in order to effectively affect the voting in an election. So the states, the counties, the cities, the districts that voted against leftists last time, where do you think most of these people are going to end up? You think they're going to end up in New York City? Do you think they're going to end up in Los Angeles? Do you think they're going to end up in Chicago? Yeah, certainly some of them are, but not all of them. Because those votes won't do anything for the left in those big liberal cities. But you start moving them into places like Dallas, Wyoming, Utah, Montana, Florida, Georgia, and all these places that are swing states, Ohio. You start moving them there, guess what? The left is going to be unstoppable. Don't take my word for it. Look it up. Do your own research. If you don't think that what's going on at the southern border is by design, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself if you truly believe that this is just a humanitarian thing, that this is just a crisis that we just can't get our arms around. There are people in our government right now that could do something about it. Biden's one of them. Guess who else? The vice president, Kamala Harris. She's one of them. You know what she spent this weekend doing? Going to a football game, a college football game. That's right. We have an absolute disaster at the border. She is the one who has been put in charge of trying to fix the disaster at the border, yet she hasn't done anything to do it. Hasn't done anything to fix it. Why do you think that is? It's not in their best interest to fix it. Meanwhile, these people are flooding over the border and we have no idea what they're bringing with them. Diseases, drugs. We have no idea what kind of issues that these folks are bringing over the border. You know, recently, out of the 30,000 that ended up at our border, on the Texas border, the Arizona border, less than 400 of them were deported back to Haiti. Less than 400. And here's the thing. There is no political persecution in Haiti. Now, I understand people want to come to the United States. I understand people want to better their circumstances and build a better life for themselves. But do it legally. But you know what? I'm going to tell you why they're not making them do it legally. Because that takes too long. That takes too long. And in 2022, we have another election coming up for the Senate and the House. So let's let as many in as we can, give them blanket amnesty, and then you got a whole new voting base. And in the meantime, while they're bringing in God knows what kind of disease, including the measles outbreak that just happened in Texas, in the meantime, what we'll do is we'll just ostracize Americans who don't want to get vaccinated. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to argue whether you should or should not get the vaccination. If you want to get vaccinated, good on you. If you don't want to get vaccinated, hey, good on you. Guess what? It's your personal choice. But how hypocritical is it when we ostracize, segregate, scorn, and shame, and then blame the unvaccinated for coronavirus deaths when we are allowing hundreds of thousands of people to flood our border and then settle all over the United States? They're not getting vaccinated. They're not even getting tested. We're just letting them in. The hypocrisy is absolutely unbelievable. Yet, U.S. citizens are coming last. I understand why these people are coming, and so do you. You understand why they're coming. This is the land of free health care. This is the land of free college. This is the land of free housing, welfare, food stamps, none of which you need to be a citizen to get. And pretty soon you won't have to be a citizen to vote. It's already in the works. I mentioned that earlier. Don't believe me? Look it up. Do your research, as I said. In the meantime, we are so divided, not just racially, not just gender, not just politically, but also now vaccinated, unvaccinated. Here's a question. If you're vaccinated and you got vaccinated in order to be immune to a virus, then why are you worried about getting sick from somebody who did not get the vaccination? And if you are getting sick from somebody who did not get a vaccination, then why'd you get a vaccination in the first place? Either the vaccination works or it doesn't work. Which one is it? I don't know. That's a decision you have to make for yourself. I'm just saying. So think about this for a second. Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution of the United States specifically says, the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion and on application of the legislature or the executive when the legislature cannot be convened against domestic violence. What does that mean? That means that this administration has the obligation, the duty to protect the citizens of the United States against foreign invaders. I ain't just talking about armed foreign invaders. I'm talking about people storming the border. You think this country is going to get better by letting all these people in illegally? It's not. It's not going to get better. Things are going to get worse. Things are already worse, okay? And they're only going to get more and more and more convoluted the more we let people in this country that were not invited here, that do not belong here. You want to come here? Do it legally. And by them not adhering to the Constitution of Article 4, Section 4, they are derelict in their duties. Speaking of derelict in their duties, let's move on and talk about the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley. Now, here's something that you need to understand, and this is by law and by the Constitution. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is an advisor to the President of the United States. He has no operational authority over combat forces in the military. And I know that might come as a shock to some folks, but he doesn't. You have operational commanders, generals, colonels, so on and so forth, admirals. You have these people who are operational on the ground, in the air, at sea. These are the folks that carry out the missions, or at least lead the missions and call the shots. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he doesn't run shit by the Constitution when it comes to combat operations. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has one primary responsibility, and that's to advise the President of the United States on all things military. But he does not have command authority over the armed forces when it comes to combat operations, as I've said before. But this general, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, is constantly telling commanders what they can, what they can't, what they should, and what they should not do. That is in breach of the Constitution. That is a violation of federal law. This man is going way beyond what his job description is. He's going way beyond the constraints set down by the Constitution and by federal law. The President should know this. The Secretary of Defense should know this. The Vice President should know this. Congress should know this. The Senate and the House should both know this. But guess what? The leftists don't care. This is how coups happen. I'm not saying one's going to happen. I'm just saying when you have a rogue general that is doing his own thing, running on his own program, calling the shots that he, by law, is not allowed to call, there's a problem. That's a huge problem. This man is supposed to be the uppermost echelon of the United States military. And he's derelict in his duties. He should be court-martialed. He should be relieved of his command immediately. And I call upon every service, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, the General of the Army, the General of the Air Force, and also the Chief of Naval Operations to do something about it. Stand up for the Constitution. You each took an oath to the Constitution of the United States. You each took an oath to the people of the United States. Hold this man accountable, because he is breaking the law and he is in violation of the Constitution. That's not my opinion. That's fact. So today, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister Boris Johnson of Great Britain, was at the White House, and he fielded a couple of questions, and Biden also fielded a couple of questions. But as Boris Johnson was answering a question, there was a little bit of hubbub between the reporters, and they started firing other questions. Guess what? They shut it down. President Biden refused to answer questions and got up and ended up leaving. And here's the thing. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why it is. Because he can't say anything that's not scripted. He can't go off of the narrative. He's told what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and who to say it to. He's told who to call on, who not to call on. or what questions he'll take and what questions he won't take. Here's the thing. This is the President of the United States. If you can't answer questions off the cuff, that's a little suspect. If you're only calling on half the room, that's a little suspect. If you're sitting there with a foreign leader and you can't articulate American foreign policy or even domestic policy, that's a little suspect. It's almost like somebody's in the wings playing a puppeteer. But we all know that's not possible. I mean, he's of sound mind, sound body. He knows what he's doing. Speaking of people who know what they're doing, you should have seen AOC's dress at the Met Gala recently. Now, the Met Gala is primarily for rich people, celebrities, that kind of stuff. To get into the Met Gala, each ticket costs $30,000. Now, AOC took her boyfriend, so that's $60,000. Now, granted, she didn't pay for it. The tickets were comped to her. Wait a minute. Isn't that an ethics clause violation? I think so. I'm pretty sure you can't take gifts like that. Anyways, so she wore this beautiful dress. I mean, you should have seen her. She was so giddy on the carpet. She's smiling and posing, and on the back it says, "Tax the rich." Check out this. Now here's something you should know. AOC is pictured there with the designer of the dress, Aurora James. Now, AOC has described Miss James as a working class designer. Now, I can appreciate that. I mean, just think, a working class designer, you've got to kind of be struggling a little bit, but very committed to what it is that you're doing. Except that she's not working class because she recently bought a mansion worth $1.6 million in Hollywood Hills. That's right, with over 7,000 square feet. The funny thing is, she hasn't paid her property taxes on it. That's right, she owes money on her property taxes. In fact, it's really funny because AOC is hanging out with somebody that, quite honestly, is rich, bought a $1.6 million mansion, didn't pay the property taxes, and check this out. Going back to 2015, there's 15 tax warrants from this Brooklyn-based designer who, guess what? She currently owes $14,798 in back payroll taxes. It gets even better. There's 6 federal liens on her business totaling more than $103,220. And it gets even better. Miss Working Class's boyfriend? That's right. Her boyfriend, his name is Benjamin Brofman. He's worth $100 million. And if that wasn't enough, guess what? Her business owes over $62,000 in workers' comp. Luckily, though, she got $41,666 from the federal government in pandemic relief funds. Whew. I'm sure she'll use that to pay some of those back taxes. You know, it's really weird that AOC wants to tax the rich, yet she hangs out with the rich, who she claims not to like, and she just happens to be hanging out with a rich person that, ironically, doesn't pay their taxes. That's so weird. You know, you just can't make this shit up. You can't. The hypocrisy of the left is never ending. Now, I highly recommend that some of you watch Mark Levin or listen to his show. He's got a book out right now. His newest book is called American Marxism. And if you look at what's going on in our country right now, that's what the move is towards. It's Marxism. Divide and conquer. Divide the masses and then conquer them. Make them dependent on the system and you own them. Control the narrative and you control the people. They don't care about taxing the rich. They want to be the rich. They don't care about your education. They care about your indoctrination. Private property rights is another thing that they're trying to take away. Look at the moratorium. You can own property, but guess what? People don't have to pay you because Joe Biden said so, and so did his handlers. Look around you. Look at what's going on. Educate yourselves. Educate each other. The Republic has only been around for 244 years, and that sounds like a long time. But if you look at other countries, if you look at Spain, Portugal, Germany, the Netherlands, England, and the list goes on and on. They've been around a lot longer than we have. And like I've said before, I know we're not an empire, but you look at the most powerful empires in the world, they all fell. The Romans, the Greeks, the Byzantines, the Ottoman Empire. We're only 244 years old. That's it. The Romans lasted for close to 1,000 years. If you think for 1 second that this country, that your freedom cannot be taken away, you better think again. Because as Mark Levin pointed out in previous books, as he talks about on his show, both radio and TV, what you're seeing right now is the beginning of a soft tyranny. What's a soft tyranny? They take a little bit here. They take a little bit there. They take a little bit over here and then over there. Just enough where you don't notice that it's going on until it's too late. And then one day you wake up and the freedoms that you've enjoyed your entire life, that your parents enjoy, that your grandparents enjoyed, that your children are supposed to be able to enjoy, they're gone. You look at every socialist or Marxist or communist country in the world. They either fail or they lead with tyranny. People don't have freedom in China. They don't have freedom in Cuba or Venezuela. They didn't have it in Nazi Germany. Now, Nazi Germany wasn't communist, but it was socialist. They didn't have it in the Soviet Union. And if you think for 1 second that it can't happen here, you need to educate yourself. Hey, we can still take back the House. We can still take back the Senate. And that's what it's going to take to preserve our republic. Please, I'm asking you, educate yourself and educate those around you. 2022 is right around the corner. Be good to each other. Let's unite once again as Americans. Be proud of who you are and be proud of where you are. I'm the CommonSensei. I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you next time.